Hey everyone, we got a quick update on what is going on with the infrastructure bill, specifically the crypto portion of this bill, because they just reached a compromise, and this is pretty exciting for crypto. There are a couple of key things though that we need to keep in mind because they could pose a couple of problems moving forward. So in today's video, we're going to talk about everything going on with this infrastructure bill, how it relates to crypto, the new compromise that's going on, and what's going on with Mark Cuban, because he just came out and gave an exclusive report to the Washington Post about what he thinks specifically about it. We're going to go over all of that, a couple more things, and I'm still traveling, so we're just sitting in the Tesla. I pulled the article up on the screen here. So not in the studio, still traveling, but I wanted to get this out to you guys as soon as possible. So if you like this sort of content, please be sure to like the video, subscribe, and also turn on the bell notifications. It helps me out a lot. But anyways, let's look at what is going on first with the infrastructure bill. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's about a $1 trillion infrastructure bill. It's currently in the Senate. They're currently debating it. And the problem is they threw in a crypto tax provision sort of just at the last minute to help raise some money to actually pay for this bill, because the bill is about $1 trillion. And with this crypto tax provision, they were going to raise about $28 billion in taxes over the next, couple of years. But the key thing about this is that they use the wording brokers in the language with regards to crypto, and they said anyone who's like a broker would have to be subject to this new crypto tax. But the problem with this is it didn't really explain what is a broker. It was very, very broad. And, it included not only crypto exchanges, but Bitcoin miners, some software developers, and some of these people had absolutely no way to actually track and keep track of their customers' data. Because if you're just doing software, do you have any of the right mechanisms in place, any of the right data collecting softwares in place to actually capture this information from customers? No, you don't. Bitcoin miners, they don't have the capabilities for that either. So with this tax provision, it was going to cause a lot of issues for Bitcoin miners, for software developers, and for a number of people who don't have any way of really collecting their customers' information. So what happened was, this was a big deal, a lot of people didn't like this. And so what happened is now we had a new compromise come out, and Senator Pat Toomey, who is a Republican from Pennsylvania, he came out and said that the full text isn't available just yet, but they're not proposing anything sweeping or anything radical or any big changes. What they're trying to do is they just made it clear that a broker means only those persons that conduct transactions where consumers buy, sell, and trade digital assets. He said that a broker is defined as any person who regularly effectuates transfers of digital assets on behalf of another person. It would exclude entities that validate transactions like miners or stakers without providing other services, and it would also exclude entities that sell hardware or software that allow customers to control private keys. So this is a big deal, because now what this provision is going to do is further specify what they meant by brokers. It's going to make it a little more clear, and this is good because previously, if they had all of these reporting and regulatory requirements for Bitcoin miners, software developers, stakers, all of this was going to be very difficult and probably push away some of these people, some of these companies away from the US to start their businesses elsewhere. And this was ultimately going to hurt the US long term, hurt the crypto market, because it makes it more difficult for all of these companies to go about their business, to innovate and continue to grow their business. And so that is a good thing. The problem with it is, also the good news here is that Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen came out and said that she agrees with this new provision, just to help confirm what exactly they mean by broker, help define that term exactly. Janet Yellen said she agrees with it. She says she's grateful that Senator Warren, Portman, Sinema, Toomey, and Loomis, all these different senators, she said that she's grateful that they're working together on this amendment to provide clarity of exactly what brokers means in this crypto tax provision. She likes it. A lot of people like it. The one problem with this right now is that it's going to need to achieve unanimous consent on this compromise of what they mean by brokers, like that specific wording. They need to achieve unanimous consent before the final vote on Tuesday, August 10th, 2021. If they don't get unanimous consent by all senators, well, then it's not going to be included, and they're just going to send the original version to the House of Representatives. So we need to see what happens with this, but hopefully they're able to get a unanimous consent for this specific provision and specific rewording that clarifies what exactly they mean by brokers. So that's what's going on there. Charles Schumer, who is the majority leader, says he won't block unanimous consent. It looks good, but we just need to see what happens. Is there going to be unanimous consent on that, and what continues to happen? The next thing, so that's what's going on with the infrastructure bill. The next thing that we need to talk about a little bit is what is going on with Mark Cuban, because Mark Cuban just came out, it's right here on the Tesla on the screen. But Mark Cuban just came out and said in a report to the Washington Post that with this crypto tax provision, with what a couple of things they've been talking about of singling out proof of stake and essentially penalizing proof of stake coins versus proof of work, he said this is essentially like shutting off the growth engine. He said shutting off this growth engine would be the equivalent of stopping e-commerce in 1995 because people were afraid of credit card fraud. He said, or regulating the creation of websites because some people initially thought they were complicated and didn't understand what they would ever amount to. He said, ultimately, some of the things in these provisions and these amendments that have been submitted by senators, first of all, the most important one with regards to proof of stake. The government is essentially going to be penalizing proof of stake cryptocurrencies versus proof of work. He said by implementing some of these tax requirements, which at first were going to be for miners, software developers, and reporting and regulating requirements for minor software developers and other companies. And he said with this new amendment that was going to be targeting proof of stake cryptos, all of this is ultimately just like shutting off the engine of the internet in 1995 when websites were first getting started, when people didn't understand them. And we've seen multiple people say this about crypto. It's not just Mark Cuban. We've seen Jack Dorsey come out and say very similar things as well. Jack Dorsey said, forcing reporting rules on Americans who develop software and hardware, people who mine and secure the network, people who run the nodes. He said, ultimately, if we're requiring all of these people to collect more data and reporting rules for all of these people, that's going to hurt growth in the crypto sector long term. So we'll wait and see what happens. All of this, what they're saying, makes sense. We don't want crypto miners, crypto software developers, all these people to have to collect and report this certain information because it's useless. They don't have any of those systems in place to collect information, and ultimately it doesn't matter. They don't need to. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully what is going on with this compromise that was just submitted, just talked about by Senator Pat Toomey, hopefully that goes through, they get unanimous consent, and then we'll be fine. But if not, that could pose a couple of risks for the crypto market because it would be hindering a lot of growth. It could hinder a couple of innovations, technological advancements over the next couple of months and next couple of years, and could push some people out of the US. So we'll wait and see what happens, but ultimately, we'll just have to wait and see what goes on in the Senate over the next couple of days with this infrastructure bill. If we have to look at the specific wording with regards to brokers, how they define brokers in the bill. Do they just mean anyone who, do they just mean anyone who does business? What is the wording they used before? Do they just mean it's just going to be exchanges, or they mean it's going to be Bitcoin miners, Bitcoin software developers, people who stake crypto? What exactly do they mean by brokers? So we'll have to just wait and see what the wording is, but that's what's really going on in crypto. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Just a little quick update in the car. Pulled up some of the articles on the screen, have something on my computer right here as well. Just wanted to get this out to you guys as soon as possible. I'm still traveling. Hopefully we'll be back in my normal home soon, but I'm not sure quite, I'm not sure exactly yet, maybe in about a week. But we'll see what happens. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. See you guys.